Something that I find very interesting is that some people can lose the fat and then never have to lose fat ever again. Like they'll get to their goal and then they will just stay like that for the rest of their lives with a eternal fit, happy body. Whereas other people, most people actually, they will spend years losing the same 20 pounds over and over and over again. For the longest time, I thought that it was just a lack of discipline, as cliche as that sounds. Well, even though that's a part of it, now after losing over 70 pounds, I realized that it's something more. What it actually is it's not people not knowing what to do. It's just people knowing what to do, but not applying what they know consistently. Speaking of consistency, let's go ahead and talk about the common problem of jumping from diet to diet to diet to diet, whatever may be trending this week or this month. So you got keto, you got carnivore, you got pescatarian, you got vegetarian, and they all work to a degree, but the common denominator is not one of these is better than the other because people are trying to find a shortcut. They're trying to find out which one is going to be the best to get them the faster results. The common denominator between all of these diets is they find some type of way to get you in a calorie deficit. But people want to bypass the idea of having to track calories. So they try to you would try to go along and find the perfect one, maybe lose 10 pounds of water weight and think you're making progress. Then when the weight stalls because you're doing a freaking elimination diet, you're going to wonder why it's not working. Then you're going to bounce from this diet to the next diet. But here's the thing, the diet itself isn't the problem. The problem is the actual bouncing from diet to diet. See, had you stayed on carnivore or keto or pescatarian or vegetarian long enough, you might have actually continued to see some results. But the motivation behind you choosing to do these specialized trending diets was you were trying to get fast results. Well, you got your first little burst of fast results because you might be very overweight, but you cannot bypass the idea of this fat loss thing taking a long time. And it's going to take you even longer because had you actually stayed on any of those diets consistently, you would actually make progress. And this creates a consistency problem. And that's the key, consistency. It doesn't matter what diet you choose, as long as it creates a calorie deficit and you can actually stick to it. And that's why I really don't ever advocate for these carnivore, keto, all these specialized diets, because a lot of times they are elimination diets. And sure, an elimination diet can work, but only because of the calorie deficit. So why not just blow past all that and then just count your calories and your macros? Hit your calorie goal, hit your protein goal, hit your carb goal, and then hit your fiber goal. And if you can hit those, you can also still put in a little bit of the stuff that you like. You still put in a cheesecake, man. You can still enjoy a cheesecake on a calorie deficit, unlike the keto and a carnivore and all this stuff. And that will allow you to actually stick to the calorie deficit long term and actually be able to make long term results. And you'll end up making results faster than a guy who was on one of these specialized elimination diets because he stopped and you just kept going. And personally, I think this method keeps you more sane than going on keto or carnivore or this or that. And it's a lot more accurate. When you're on keto or carnivore, sure, you can create a calorie deficit by eliminating things, but you don't really know how much you're eating. You're just eating all of this, eating all of that. And who knows, you could still end up in a net surplus or end up at maintenance and not lose weight if you're just hungry enough, you know what I mean? But when you're just tracking your calories and your macros, you know exactly how much food you're eating and exactly how much protein you're eating and exactly how much carbs you're eating. And once you get into learning about carbs and protein, it'll make your training that much more easier. Now, this section of the video isn't just to kind of like shit on all these different types of diets. Like I said in the beginning, they do absolutely work. But if you want a more accurate diet that also allows for you to have a bit of freedom and sanity and still have that cheesecake that you freaking love, that I freaking love, I'm saying that you love it, but I'm thinking that everybody loves cheesecake because I love cheesecake. If you want a diet that's both accurate and allows you to have a bit of freedom, I think you should start tracking your calories and learn how to track your calories, because it's difficult at first. It's definitely a learning curve, but once you do it and you've been doing it, you only spend like 20 minutes a week on your calorie tracking app. In short, calorie tracking is superior to all other forms of diets. I can't even bear the thought of me never having cheesecake ever again. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to have my cheesecake and I'm going to lose some fat. Another reason why you might fail at fat loss is because you treat one mistake like it just deleted all of your progress. And I used to be like this too, man. Like, I used to let one mistake mess up my progress so bad. Like, I eat a little bit too much on one day, and then it'll turn into a Friday to Sunday binge. And technically, I did wipe out my progress, but my progress only got wiped out when I decided that I messed up my progress. Because one day isn't really going to mess up your progress realistically, as long as you get right back on track. But if you're anything like me, or like how I was, if you let one mistake, let's say you go over your calories by like 300 calories on one day, but Monday through Wednesday, you were straight, but on Thursday, you just go over a bit. If you decide to get right back on track the next day, your week is saved. You're fine. Instead of losing 1 pound this week, you might lose 0.8 or 0.9 pounds, which isn't a big deal and which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of games. You probably still losing a pound a week on average, even if you make one day mistake every single week, or even if you make a couple mistakes a month. It's not going to destroy your progress. But because you let it kind of mess up your mental state, you actually erase your progress in a paradoxical way, because it's already erased in your mind. And so your mind starts to cause you to do things to actually erase your progress, because you think that your progress is erased. And then the progress actually gets erased, because instead of you getting right back on track the next day, you just kept on eating after that, and then you kept on eating the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then you have to start over on one day. I know this because that was me, and that's why I can tell you the exact mental state and the exact thought process that goes into this, because I've been there. And so the moment that you convince yourself that you erased your progress, that's when it actually gets erased. You need to keep a cool head. You're going to go over your calories every once in a while. You can't let it get to you, because if you get to you, it's over. It's just like somebody once told me, when it comes to running, like when you're running a race, you could be running a race and you're running hard, you're running fast, and you know that if you just keep going, you're going to make your time. But if you convince yourself that you're tired, you convince yourself that you're hurt, and you stop, the race is over, and it's a lot harder to get back started again. That's why you have to be indifferent when it comes to making mistakes on your diets, just so that you can get right back on track. And being indifferent doesn't mean that you actually don't care about the diet. You being indifferent actually helps you get right back on track, because it's boring, it's mundane. You do this no matter what, right? You're going to do the diet no matter what. But when your emotions are attached to it and you let your emotions get the best of you when you make a mistake, that paradoxically, you caring about it so much is going to cause you to mess up even more and actually erase your progress. And so you're not going to lose your progress because of a birthday or Christmas, or maybe you ate a little bit over your calories one day. Your body really can't tell the difference when you do something for one day, or when you do something for one meal, or when you eat a little bit over one time. What your body actually cares about is the compounding of the things that you do all the time. And so that's why it's important that when you make a mistake on your diet, you don't panic. You have to get right back on track, because you getting right back on track shows your body that, hey, this guy is feeding me this fuel 90% of the time, 80% of the time. and it's not gonna allow the 20% of garbage that you feed it or 20% of sweets to completely throw it off course. But it can allow it to if you allow it to. But that starts up here with you not panicking and you being indifferent to it and not letting it make you go crazy on your diet. Because consistency is not about completely avoiding mistakes. It's about not letting one mistake become 10. I think there's a big difference between people who lose fat versus people who lose the fat and actually keep it off, because fat loss stops becoming something that you're doing and it starts becoming something that you just are, something that is just in you, it's a part of you. And I have the perfect story for letting you guys know about this. As you guys know, I used to be 240 pounds, super ultra big back 3. And I used to have a lot of bad habits, but I've been on this fitness journey for 2 years now. I've been locked in on my diet for a very long time. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had my fair share of having a bit of fun, this, that, and third, but not to the extent that I did on my girl's birthday. So, on my girl's birthday, we went out, we had some fun, we had some really good food, cheesecake, chicken and waffles, pizza. And normally after my meals, just another habit that I developed, I like to go for walks. I like to go for a short walk just to get the digestion going. And I know it makes you feel better. But when I got back to the hotel, I accidentally fell asleep just because I was just so unbelievably tired. Like I had no energy. And then when I got up, I just felt so weird inside. Like my ears felt clogged. My nostrils felt like they were closed a bit. My throat was unbelievably dry. Like my insides just felt fucked. Like my insides felt cooked. And so I got up and I forced myself to get up and get on the treadmill because I knew that it would make me feel better. And as I'm walking on the treadmill, I begin to feel better. I'm drinking my water. I'm clearing whatever is going on inside my body out of it. And I realized something. I did not want to get up out of the bed. I did it because I knew I needed to, because I built those habits. And then I started thinking, damn, most people must feel like this all the time. I felt like this all the time until I started to change my habits. And I didn't realize how bad I felt until that day, because I had been so locked in on my diet, I hadn't realized how much it's changed my body both inside and out, and how much energy I had, how it overall changed my mood. Because to be honest with you guys, after I ate all that food, it was fun. It tasted so delicious. I felt like I was poisoned and I was ready to go back home. And that just goes to show you, when it comes to this fitness stuff, a lot of people are neglecting the most important thing, which is the diet. When your body is constantly inflamed, you constantly feel sick, you start to forget that you're actually in a weakened, sick state. And no wonder you have a bad attitude. No wonder you're upset about things. No wonder little things get to you. It's because of the food you're eating on a 90% basis. And if you were able to just flip that, change your habits, and let your habits become your identity, then you will have much better mood. You feel so much better. And that's what I mean when I say your habits become your identity. Because you won't realize how good you feel until you do something bad. You won't realize how bad you feel until you do something good consistently. And over time, my habits became my identity. And that's why I came to that realization. And I hope you do too when you eventually get on your fitness journey.